Part 9, let's go! Oh, sorry, did I just jump scare you? Probably not, because I wasn't actually that scary. Or maybe you've watched enough videos to know that for videos about jump scares, you can have a jump scare in it which makes it less effective. Anyway, welcome to part 9 of this ongoing series looking at the do's and don'ts of horror and what makes a great horror game on this, the Overthinking Media channel, where we overthink all things anime, gaming, cinematic and entertainment with the intent to start a discussion on subjects that may not change the world, but are fun to think about. In the previous video, we looked at jump scares in the first part and why they work. In this part, we'll be looking at jump scares and why they don't really work as well. If you haven't watched that yet, you can hit the little eye in the top corner up there to watch it and watch the latest series. This is part 9, watch the first 8 parts if you want to be up to date. With that said, let's jump in. In this part, we'll be looking at jump scares and why so many games that use jump scares only rely on one certain kind. And even if the game becomes successful, in the long run, by only relying on one type of jump scare, the game ends up kneecapping itself in its success. Also, yeah, I'm kind of aware it's November. I kind of missed that mark, didn't I? It's meant to be the October Halloween videos. Whoops. Oh well. Moving on. As I just said, even if the game is successful, if they only rely on one or two kind of jump scares, the game overall kind of becomes kneecapped and isn't as good as it could be. Even if it's massively successful, if it's just one type of jump scare, the game becomes known as that scare, as known with a certain pizza-themed franchise that I may or may not be talking about later on in this series. But I think the reason so many games use just one kind of jump scare, because their main objective is just a reaction. Regardless of whether the rest of the game is any good or not, they want that reaction, they want that promotion, which I can understand, but it shouldn't come at the expense of the game. But if I think games that only rely on this are bad, why are they so successful? Well, as I just mentioned, it might have something to do with a certain pizza-themed franchise game. Not yet, though. I'll get to you later. Not yet, though. Gotta talk about some stuff first. But before we talk about that, I first want to deconstruct the type of jump scares these games use, and see how, if implemented correctly, these jump scares on their own could be used effectively, without the need to fall back on what I'm going to call the basic jump scare, which is the blend of cheap and formulaic jump scares. So, what is the basic jump scare? The vast majority of basic jump scares consist of 3 things. 1. A loud audio in your face. 2. Flashing, shaking, or zooming off the screen. And 3. Some sort of imagery, normally close to your face or lunging at you. While these are technically effective, how effective are they in the long run? As I said, when broken down to the individual standing, I believe these mechanics can work very effectively as a jump scare on their own. In order for a game to make you jump, it doesn't need to be flashy. No pun intended. Personally, I believe the more subtle the horror, the better. While this is hard to do when it comes to jump scares, there are some ways of doing it right. And I believe, when implemented correctly, creates the most effective and best kind of jump scare that leaves the player feeling jumpy throughout the entire game in an effective way. What's most impressive about this though, is the game doesn't really have to do anything. It just has to do certain small, tiny things to leave the character feeling scared. And that's what makes this jump scare so effective, and so good, and so great. However, for now, we're deconstructing the basic jump scare and the 3 components of that. So let's do that before we talk about the awesome jump scare. So, what made up the basic jump scare? The audio, the zooming, and the lunging. First part, audio. I've already touched on audio and when to use it in the overall game, but let's more specifically just look at when to use audio to scare the player, as well as when not to. So, when do you use audio to scare the player? This can be a difficult thing. Choosing the correct moment to use audio to scare the player is difficult. And also choosing the correct volume to use makes it even harder. I can't remember what the game is called. I've tried looking it up. I'm pretty sure it was like an indie Game Jolt kind of game. It was on Unity, I know that much. Like it looked very Unity, the whole very block. You know what Unity games look like. A lot of that. But it was this awesome little indie game where you're walking through, like, I think it was a mansion. It was a massive building, a complex, some sort of big structure, pretty much. You're walking through it, and there's one bit where you walk through a door. And it's all dimly lit, you're walking through these corridors, you walk through the door, you open it, you shut the door behind you, you keep walking into the room, and you find yourself in a maze of corridors. Long, twisting, turning corridors that you gotta walk through and find your way. But it's completely, well, not completely dark, obviously you can see in front of you, but God, what is this? this game, if I can find it, I'm putting it here. It's an awesome game. It was an awesome experience. But back to the actual video. As you walk through it, as you start walking through it, suddenly behind you, you hear the door. You hear something slam through it. And suddenly you just hear. Suddenly, like, you're in a panic, so you start running through the corridors trying to find your way out. You run this way, dead end. That end, dead end. This way, dead end. This way, dead end. Okay, which way? It's all dark. Okay, have I gone that way yet? No. Okay, the music starts building up. You get sort of that intense music, like, oh god. This way. You run that way. Nope, that was a dead end. That way. Run that way. Dead end. You keep running. You find the exit. You open the door. You get out. Okay, I'm alive. I'm safe. That was intense. And like for this 30 seconds in this game, you're just sprinting around this dark corridor with this little, was it a torch or a candle? No, I think it was a torch. There was some light source that gave you a little bit of vision in front of you, but you're sprinting through these corridors, trying to find out where you were going. It was awesome. But you have no idea where you're going, so you start panicking. You have to weave your way through the maze of corridors. You find the door you have to go through, you open it, you go through, and the game continues. I don't remember what happens after that. I just remember that one scene because it's so awesome. But it never actually showed the monster. All it did was the slamming of the door behind you. And was I even breathing? I don't remember. God, it was like... This must have been like 5, 6... 7 years ago? I don't know. It was probably like about 2016 I played this game. It was awesome. I wish I could remember what it was called. I don't know. Like a first person. If anyone knows, like, okay, so you're a first person, you're walking through it. It's a massive complex. I don't know. I know it was ages ago. I've played so many games since I can't remember, but yes, as you walk through the game, you hear the door behind you slam. And you're aware there's something chasing you. So you sprint through the corridor, you try and find your way out, you hit dead ends, you panic, you come back around, the music's building, it's all intense, it's all scary. You find the way, you go open the door, you run through, and you're safe. Whew. Then I beat the game. And I went back and played it again. Because I wanted to see what the monster looked like. So I got to that level. I opened the door. I walked inside. I waited. I hit the trigger point, the door behind me slammed, and I just stood there. I turned around, it's like, let's see what the death animation looks like. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited. The music's still building, by the way. It's still awesome. It's all like boom, 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 boom. Awesome music. Once you get your heart beating, once you get running. And I just kind of stood there in the corridor. Still nothing. Huh. Okay, cool. So I just started walking towards the door. Walked towards where I came, walked up to the door, turned the corridor, walked up to it. Oh, the door was still shut. There was nothing here. Oh, has the game glitched, I thought, maybe? Okay, cool, so I restarted, got back to that point, walked into the room, triggered the audio, waited. And I kept waiting. Waited a little longer, and there was still nothing. Oh. Huh. So there was actually nothing in the room the entire time. It was literally just the audio building. Huh. Interesting. Which was such a good use of audio. All of this fear inside me was done just by audio cues. There was no actual monster, there was no flashing lights, there was no screaming banshee in my ear making me throw my headphones off because loud audio! Ah! Yeah, that probably sucked, didn't it? Probably hurt your ears. But that's what jump scares are. Pop up. Ah! kind of disappointing, isn't it? But no, this game. What was it called? I'm gonna have to like. God. Maybe I recorded playing it. I could see if I can find it on my gaming channel. But yeah, this game, in that level, just used audio. I can't even remember if there was monsters in the actual rest of the game. That is just that one scene was so memorable. I remember it. But yeah, there was no monster. There was no screaming. There was no flashing in your face. There wasn't any shaking of the camera apart from when you're running around. It was just a quick bang. Music builds. Okay, I'm in danger. Run around, scare yourself. There was never any threat though. You could stand there forever. Maybe I just got a glitch game. I don't know. Like, but yeah, to my knowledge, like the game never had a monster in it. And that's awesome. Because it was just using audio to scare the player. No flashing lights, no screaming, no annoyance, just audio, scare yourself. The sound was just loud enough to scare the player without having to hurt your ears. It was in the distance, so you knew you had a moment, but it gave you a moment to be scared because you knew something was coming at you, or at least you thought there was something coming at you. Which I think is so important when using audio, because if the audio is too loud, the response isn't, okay, I'm scared. It's like, ah, damn it, ow, god damn it. Oh, right, yeah, I'm supposed to be running away. Oh, hi, monster, dead. Because the audio is just screaming in your ears. You take off your headphones, you want to focus on the noise, like, that hurts. You're not focusing on the game. You're not thinking, okay, I'm playing a game, running around, loud audio. Oh, my ears hurt, but I better run away from monsters. You think, no, ow, god damn it. Okay, moving on. Yes, the louder the audio is, the more likely it is to make your player jump. Because it's sudden, it's unseen, it's suddenly blur in your face. But is that really what you want your game to be, the game devs? Do you want your game to be scary because you just slap them across the face randomly? Or do you want it to be scary because you built up a slap? You got them ready? You're like, yeah, in a minute. In a minute. Oh, not yet. And so you slap them with the other hand and take them by surprise. Like, duh! That was a weird metaphor. My point being, sure, you scared the player. Congratulations, you blasted them with audio. They had some moment of scaredness. But how memorable was that moment? When they play the game next, will they remember it? Like, whatever that game was called. Like, I remember that one scene. I don't remember the rest of the game. I have very vague memories about it. But that one scene, entire game, stuck with me because just how effective. Not because they blasted with audio, not because they threw something in my face, not because they flashed, not because they screamed at me, but because it was subtle and great. And it left me in feeling scared because I'd created this idea in my mind. By just blasting them with audio, you don't create a memorable experience. You just create this moment of fear that the player will forget as soon as they play another game. Because they weren't actually scared, they were just taken off guard and confused. Although audio doesn't always have to be loud to make you jump. Audio where it's extremely quiet, but right next to your ear, can be just as effective. In fact, I believe it's more effective than any loud audio can ever be. It doesn't have to be blare in your face. It's just that breathing right behind your ear. It's that little bit of laughter right behind you. It's the footsteps right behind you. It's the sound of the floorboard creaking as it approaches you. Not thump, 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 but like and it's funny. It won't make you jump because of the sudden shock and fear of it, but it will make you jump because it was so subtle and right behind you. It lets you know that the danger is right there. Sure, in some cases, sounds coming from a distance and getting closer can be effective. as in the case with the Corridor game. However, if there actually is a threat, you have time to prepare for it. You hear the monster coming running down the corridor, you're like, okay, cool, here's the monster. Time to run away. But having the sound right behind you, you have no time to prepare. It is right there. If a monster comes running down the corridor, you've got time to run away. But if you suddenly hit behind you, you know you're screwed. You can't run. It's right there. You're screwed. Of course, just using quiet audio isn't the only way of making games scary. Yes, you can use loud audio, but use it correctly. Don't just use it because you want to scare the player. No, have loud audio in the distance maybe. Yes, a game can use loud audio if it wants, but it's not scaring the player by actually getting them scared. It's just scaring the player by freaking them out, which may sound the same, but personally I believe that's different. The scare isn't effective because it's scare, it's a scare because it just catches you off guard. It's leaving you confused as opposed to actually scared. It's not effective in the long run. There's the scared, okay, back to normal, as opposed to scared. Okay, I think I'm safe. Gonna very slightly relaxed. Heard the quiet audio whisper behind me. Think I'm safe. Think I'm safe. Gonna keep playing. Not entirely feeling safe though, but I'm gonna keep playing the game, keep moving forward. But the louder it's just like, blah, scared. Okay, cool, that threat's over, moving on. Second, using flashing, shaking, or zooming with the camera. This is a common use mechanic because it distorts the view of the player. If the camera starts shaking, suddenly, you can't see straight, you start panicking. If the camera starts flashing, lights, you freak out, you can't see straight, you're panicking. And if the camera starts zooming in and out, you can't focus on what you're doing, you start panicking. But how effective is that? Much like with audio, while this may freak out the player to an extent when exaggerated, how effective is it actually? I can understand why a game shakes the camera from time to time. It creates the illusion of the game or the monster actually picking you up and shaking you and you're screwed and all that. But does that actually come across in the game? When you play sort of games and the game starts shaking the camera, do you feel like you're being shaked by the monster or enemy? Does it really come across? Does it get the result it wanted? If a game wants to distort the player's vision to freak them out or make them panic, there are several ways they can do it effectively without having to rely on cheap, easy scares. Slender the 8 Pages has the simple trick of adding static to the screen. The more danger you're in, the more static it starts to show up. It lets the player know this is your danger meter. The more static you see, the more danger you're in. The game doesn't shake the camera back and forth and zoom in and out and start flashing lights on the screen. It's just like, hey, static, becoming hard to see, even harder to see. Start running away, because they know if the static starts appearing, Slender Man's getting close to them. But by making it gradually become more and more static, it becomes hard to see. And they know Slender Man's somewhere near to them, so they start panicking. Like, okay, right, I can't see. I'm just gonna run this way, getting worse static. Okay, run this way. Nope, static's getting worse. Run this way. Oh man, game over. Ah. It makes the player panic because they know they're in danger, and it's gradual. If the game just starts shaking the camera back and forth, what happens is, oh, I'm dead. Oh, when did that happen? Oh, it was during the shaking? Oh. Oh, that sucks. I couldn't even see where I was going. That sucks. Another great way the game can distort your vision is in Outlast, where when the player gets hit by an enemy, your vision goes blurry. Once you get hit, it becomes much harder to see where you're going. But you don't really have time to think about that because you've been hit by a hostile. There is a hostile trying to kill you, so you have to run away. You can't try and focus on where you're going. You just have to run. But suddenly your vision's a bit blurry. You're not quite sure where you're going, but you gotta run because you haven't got time to think about it. And 3, imagery. Imagery is probably the hardest of the jump scares to get right when done on its own. However, I also believe when done correctly is personally the best kind of jump scare, because the 7th and final type of jump scare is subtle jump scares, which is what image reliant jump scares are, and is what we're talking about in the next part of this series. And I'm excited for this one, because I love slow horror. It's my favorite kind of horror. Oh, I can't wait to talk about it. So if you want to see that video as soon as it goes live, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. I'm pretty sure the bell still just like, I'm not entirely sure anymore, but hit it just in case because it will keep you updated with all my latest content. If you did enjoy this video, giving a like is always appreciated as it helps the algorithm and it helps me feel good. Leave a comment below just talking about whatever you want to talk about because honestly, I'm just excited for the next video. I want to get it done as soon as I can, so as soon as I get this video done, as soon as I can. There's all my social media links here if you want to follow any of those. So, what's the takeaway from this video? Jump scares don't need to be loud. Jump scares don't need to be dramatic. They don't need to be in your face and bleh. Jump scares can be just as effective when they're simple, when they're subtle, and when they're just there. You don't need to flash the screen. If you want to make a game where you want to scare the player, you don't have to rely on loud noises. Just have noises in the distance. It'll freak the player out. So anyway, thanks for watching. Look forward to the next video. It's probably going to be my favourite part in this entire series. I cannot wait to get it done. It'll be coming soon. I know it's past Halloween at this point, but I want to get the series done. Yeah, this is, yep, hi. This is the post-credit bit. Hello, if you don't want to hear me ramble, you can click on the description to go watch the next video right now if you want. But yeah, hi. Hello. Storytelling is done in Halloween. It was quite a hectic month. My life is quite hectic. Hopefully I can get this done before the end of the year. If not, we'll just go into next year, I guess, the entire thing. This is a long series. I know I've been working on it more as I've been going through it. I didn't expect it to be this long. But thank you guys. If you're watching, legitimately, thank you. You guys are awesome. This is, I don't know, it's a long road of what I want to do with my life, but I'm getting there. So thank you for watching. Thank you. Like, you may not realize it, you may not acknowledge it sometimes, but like, just by watching my videos, by giving the YouTube algorithm that watch time metric, you help me out more than I can ever put into words. I'll be eternally grateful for that. So, yeah, I'll try making the best videos I can for you guys. I can't wait for the next video, because we're talking about solo jump scares. I cannot wait for it. So, sum up to be notified of it as soon as it goes live. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.